My name is Susan Morrison. I'm 62 years old. And for most of my life, I believed that if something truly devastating ever happened to my family, I would recognize it immediately. It would be loud, explosive, impossible to ignore. But I was wrong, because the worst decisions of your life don't always arrive with chaos. Sometimes they arrive quietly, like a calm conversation, like a reasonable suggestion, like a mother sitting across from her daughter, asking her to move on, and not realizing that those two words would cost her everything. I'm sitting in my living room now, staring at my phone. It's 11 p.m. on a Thursday. Danielle's number is still blocked. It has been for 4 years. I know because I've tried calling it more times than I can count. Every call goes straight to voicemail. Every message fails to deliver. My daughter erased me from her life, changed her number, moved across the country, built an entirely new existence without me in it. And the worst part? That wasn't something that happened to me. It's something I caused. I have 2 daughters. Danielle, my oldest, 33 now, and Maya, my youngest, 30. They couldn't have been more different. Danielle was the kind of child parents don't worry about. Straight A student, quietly driven, responsible in a way that felt almost unnatural. She didn't ask for help, she offered it. At 23, she already had her life mapped out. At 29, she was engaged. Stable, secure, happy. Or at least, I thought she was. Maya was different. She struggled. Always had. School never came easily. Friendships were complicated. Jobs never lasted. She felt everything more intensely. Disappointment, rejection, fear. And as her mother, I felt responsible for that. So I compensated. We all did. Her father, Robert, and I. We gave her more attention, more patience, more chances. Because she needed it. Or at least that's what I told myself. Danielle never complained. Not once. She just kept moving forward. And I mistook her silence for strength. 4 years ago, Danielle was engaged to a man named Ethan Cole. He was charming, polite, attentive. The kind of man you feel relieved your daughter ends up with. They were planning a wedding for August. Everything was already set. The venue, the flowers, even the seating chart. It was all real. It was all happening. Maya was still living with us then. No job, no direction. Just existing in that strange space between adulthood and avoidance. Ethan came around often. Sunday dinners, casual visits, family gatherings. He and Maya got along. They laughed easily together. I remember thinking, this is nice. They're bonding. I thought it meant our family was strong, connected, safe. I didn't see what was actually happening. It started when Danielle went on a work trip. 3 days. That's all it took. Maya was home. Ethan stopped by. Something about wedding details. A quick visit. That's what it was supposed to be. But it didn't stay that way. Mom, it just happened. That's what Maya said later. Her voice shaking, eyes red, hands trembling like she was the one who'd been wronged. It just happened. As if betrayal was an accident. As if 6 months could be reduced to a moment. Because it didn't stop. It continued. Every time Danielle traveled. Every time there was an opportunity. 6 months. 6 months of lies. 6 months of secrecy. 6 months of choosing each other. Over her. We didn't know. Not me. Not Robert. Not anyone. Until Danielle found out. She came home early from a trip. Didn't tell anyone. Walked into her apartment. And found them. Together. In her bed. In the home she shared with the man she was about to marry. She didn't call us. Didn't scream. Didn't break anything. She just disappeared. For 3 days we couldn't reach her. No calls. No messages. Nothing. I remember the fear sitting in my chest like a stone. Something's wrong. Something's terribly wrong. On the 4th day, Maya told us, Mom, Dad, I need to tell you something. She was crying, shaking, terrified. I've been seeing Ethan. I remember staring at her, not understanding. Seeing? What do you mean, seeing? Her voice cracked. We've been together for a few months. The room went silent. Robert stood up so fast his chair scraped against the floor. You slept with your sister's fiancé? I didn't mean to, Maya said, sobbing. We have feelings for each other. Feelings. That word. I clung to it. Like it made things make sense. Like it softened what she'd done. For how long? I asked. She hesitated, then whispered, 6 months. 6 months. Half of Danielle's engagement. Half a year of deception. Where is Danielle? Robert demanded. I don't know. She won't answer me. We found her at her friend Kyle's apartment. He didn't want to let us in. Said she didn't want to see anyone. But I insisted. I'm her mother. As if that still meant something. When we walked in, I almost didn't recognize her. She was sitting on the couch. Still. Too still. Her face. Empty. Like someone had taken everything inside her and hollowed it out. Danielle, I said softly, sitting beside her. Maya told us what happened. I'm so sorry. She looked at me, and for a moment, I saw nothing in her eyes. No anger, no tears, just absence. Are you? She asked. Her voice was flat, cold, controlled, and that was the moment everything began to break. Even though I didn't realize it yet, because instead of choosing her, instead of protecting her, I was already thinking about how to fix Maya, and I would spend the rest of my life paying for that. Danielle didn't cry in front of us that night. That almost made it worse. If she had screamed, I could have called it anger. If she had broken something, I could have called it grief. If she had begged for an explanation, I could have pretended there was still something left to save. But she did none of that. She just sat there on Kyle's couch with both hands wrapped around a mug of tea that had long since gone cold, staring at the wall like the world had already ended and she was the only one who knew it. Robert sat on her other side and leaned forward, elbows on his knees, trying to sound calm. I know this is awful, he said. I know you're hurt. Danielle turned her head slowly and looked at him. Hurt? The word came out almost gentle, like she was testing it. As if he forgot my birthday? As if Maya borrowed my dress and ruined it? Hurt isn't the word for finding my fiancé in my bed with my sister. Neither of us answered, because there was nothing to say. But even then, even right there, in the middle of her devastation, I was already reaching for balance, for mediation, for the fantasy that if I found the right words, the right tone, the right sequence of apologies and explanations, I could somehow keep both my daughters. Maya said they have feelings for each other, I said quietly. The second the words left my mouth, I wanted to pull them back. Danielle stared at me, and this time there was something in her eyes. Not tears, something worse. Disbelief. So that helps? She asked. That makes this better for you? No, I said quickly. That's not what I mean. You just want this to make sense. Her voice stayed calm, but I could feel Kyle watching from the kitchen doorway, arms crossed, like he already knew what I hadn't admitted to myself yet, that I was failing her, again and again, with every sentence. Robert cleared his throat. Danielle, listen. What Maya did was wrong. So was Ethan. No one is excusing that. But right now, we need to figure out what happens next. Danielle gave a short, hollow laugh. What happens next is simple. The wedding is off. Ethan is gone. Maya is dead to me. Don't say that, I whispered. Why? Because it makes you uncomfortable? Because she's your sister. Danielle stood then. So suddenly the mug rattled against the coffee table when she set it down. No, she said. She was my sister. Sisters don't do this. The room went tight and silent. Kyle stepped closer then, not touching her, just standing nearby, the way people do when they know someone is 1 inch from shattering. I should have gone to her. I should have stood up, crossed that room, and said, You're right. What she did is unforgivable. I'm with you. But I didn't. I stayed seated, still trying to make a space for Maya inside a moment that belonged entirely to Danielle. Robert tried again. Give it some time. Don't make permanent decisions in the middle of shock. Danielle looked at him with that same dead, level stare. They made a permanent decision every single day for 6 months. Neither of us had an answer for that either. We left an hour later with nothing resolved except the first terrible truth. Danielle was not going to forgive Maya. Not now, maybe not ever. And instead of respecting that, I made the biggest mistake of my life. I decided that meant I needed to try harder. Over the next 2 weeks, everything in our house revolved around Maya. She cried constantly, locked herself in her room, came downstairs with swollen eyes and trembling hands and said things like, I know everyone hates me, and I never meant for any of this to happen, and I love him, Mom. I really love him. And every time she said it, some wounded, foolish part of me softened. Because Maya had always known how to look fragile. As a child, it made me protective. As an adult, it made me blind. Ethan started coming around too, though not openly at first. Quiet phone calls, parked cars down the street, long conversations on the back porch after dark. The whole thing disgusted Robert, but even he kept slipping into the same trap I did, focusing on what to do with Maya's emotions instead of what had been done to Danielle. Danielle, meanwhile, refused every call. She blocked Maya immediately, ignored Ethan completely, answered me only twice, both times with one-word responses that told me more than pages of conversation could have. The first time I asked if she was eating. Yes. The second time I asked if she was safe. Yes. That was it. No warmth, no anger, no opening. And because I couldn't tolerate the silence, I interpreted it as distance I needed to close instead of a boundary I needed to respect. Maya came into the kitchen one afternoon while I was making coffee and stood there twisting the sleeve of her sweatshirt around her hand. Can you talk to her? She asked. I didn't even pretend not to understand. She doesn't want to talk right now. She won't even listen to me. Her lip trembled. She acts like I murdered someone. I put the mug down harder than I meant to. Maya. What? I know what I did was bad, but people fall in love with the wrong person all the time. The wrong person. Even now, I remember the strange chill that slid through me when she said it. Not because I fully understood yet, but because some part of me did. She still didn't get it. This wasn't about love. It was about deceit, humiliation, violation. About Danielle building a future while the two people closest to her dismantled it behind her back. But instead of forcing Maya to sit inside that truth, I did what I had always done. I tried to cushion it. You need to give her time, I said. But what if she never forgives me? That should not have been my problem to solve. It should have been Maya's consequence to live with. Instead, I made it mine. A few nights later, Robert and I sat at the dining table after Maya had gone upstairs. The house felt stale, heavy with the kind of tension that settles into the walls. She'll calm down, I said, though I wasn't even sure who I meant. Danielle, Maya, myself. Robert rubbed both hands over his face. Danielle has a right to be furious. I know. She may never speak to Maya again. I flinched. Don't say that. Why not? It may be true. I looked toward the staircase, toward the room where Maya was likely crying into a pillow or texting Ethan or doing both. She can't lose her sister forever. Robert looked at me then, long and tired and too perceptive. And Danielle can lose her fiancé forever? That should have stopped me. It should have cracked something open. Instead, I answered with the sentence that explains everything about why I lost my oldest daughter. Danielle is stronger. The second I said it, Robert's expression changed. Not angry. Worse. Disappointed. That's not a reason to ask more of her, he said. But that's exactly what I did. Because stronger, in my mind, meant more capable of surviving pain, more able to absorb injustice, more likely to recover without us. Maya, meanwhile, was spiraling. So the family moved toward the squeaky wheel, again. By the third week, I convinced myself that what we needed was one honest conversation. All of us. In one room. No avoiding. No silence. No disappearing. I called Danielle and told her we needed to talk as a family. She said no immediately. There's nothing to talk about. There is if this family is going to survive. A pause. Then, very quietly, maybe it shouldn't. I should have listened. I should have heard the warning in that sentence. Instead, I heard a challenge. Something to overcome. So I did something I am ashamed of even now. Something that still makes my stomach turn when I replay it in the dark. I organized what I called a family meeting. What it really was, what it always was an intervention for the wrong person. I told myself Danielle needed to hear that we loved her, that forgiveness was possible, that anger would poison her if she held on to it. Those are the kinds of things people say when they want healing without accountability, peace without justice, comfort without truth. I called my sister, my mother, Robert's brother, people Danielle had grown up trusting, people whose presence would make it harder for her to walk away. And then, because I had crossed every boundary already, I brought Maya. I even let Ethan come. That part haunts me most. The sheer arrogance of it. The audacity to bring the man who betrayed her into her own apartment and call it help. Danielle opened the door and froze the moment she saw all of us standing there in the hallway. I still remember the exact way her face changed. Not surprise. Recognition. Like she understood instantly what this was and understood, faster than I did, what it meant. No, she said. Sis, please, Maya started. Do not call me that. I stepped forward. Danielle, just let us talk. 10 minutes. She should have slammed the door in my face. Instead, maybe out of shock, maybe out of old habit, maybe because some part of her still hoped her mother had finally come to defend her, she stepped back and let us in. We filled her living room with our bodies and our opinions and our terrible righteousness. Danielle stayed standing by the door. She never sat down. That detail matters to me now because I understand it differently. At the time, I thought she was being dramatic. Now I know she never intended to let us get comfortable in her pain. I spoke first. Danielle, we're here because we love you, because we're worried about you. You've cut yourself off from everyone, and this anger, it's going to destroy you. She stared at me. I'm the one being destroyed? No one is saying that, I said too quickly. Robert jumped in. We know what Maya and Ethan did was wrong. Maya was already crying. Ethan stared at the floor like silence could disguise cowardice. My sister leaned forward from the couch. But sometimes life gets messy. Sometimes people fall in love in ways they didn't expect. Danielle looked at her as if she were a stranger. My mother added, family has to find a way through hard things. That's what family does. Hard things. As if this were an inconvenience, a rough season, a misunderstanding over money. Danielle's face went still in that terrible way again. Then she looked directly at me. What she said next is something I will hear for the rest of my life. You brought an audience, she said. For what? So I could be outvoted in my own betrayal? Danielle, I began. No, say it clearly. Her voice sharpened for the first time. You didn't come here to support me. You came here to make me easier to manage. Maya started crying harder. I said I was sorry. Danielle whipped around. You were sorry when you got caught, not while you were sleeping with my fiancé in secret. Ethan finally spoke. We didn't mean for this to happen. Danielle laughed once, sharp and humorless. 6 months happened on purpose. Then she looked back at me, and I made the choice that ended us. I softened my voice, reached for reason, for peace, for the lie I wanted to believe. You have to move on, I said. You have to forgive Maya. She's your sister. Family is more important than holding on to this forever. The room went silent. It felt for one strange second like the whole world held its breath. Danielle just looked at me. Not crying, not yelling, just looking. And right there, right in front of everyone, I watched something inside my daughter shut down. You chose her, she said. I shook my head immediately. That's not true. Yes, it is. Danielle, we love you both. But you're protecting her. I opened my mouth, but she kept going, each word colder than the last. You want me to absorb this so she doesn't have to feel what she did. You want me to sacrifice my dignity so this family can stay comfortable. You want me to act like my pain is negotiable because hers is louder. My mother tried to interrupt. That's not fair. Danielle turned toward the door and pulled it open so hard it hit the wall. Get out! Nobody moved. Her voice rose then, not hysterical, not wild, clear. Get out of my apartment, all of you, now. We're trying to help, I said, already panicking. No, she said. You're trying to help Maya. You're just honest enough to finally say it out loud. Robert stood slowly. Danielle, if you stay, I will call the police. That got us moving. One by one, we filed out, stunned and embarrassed, and still, unbelievably, convinced she was overreacting. I was the last one at the door. I turned back and said the worst possible thing a mother can say to a daughter whose trust she has just shattered. Please don't do this. Don't tear this family apart. Danielle looked me straight in the face. I'm not the one who tore it apart. And then she shut the door. That was the last time I ever saw my oldest daughter in person. I didn't know it then. If I had, I wonder whether I would have fallen to my knees outside that apartment, whether I would have pounded on the door, whether I would have finally chosen her. Or whether I still would have stood there, clutching my version of fairness, too blind to understand that neutrality in the face of betrayal is its own kind of cruelty. 2 weeks later, Danielle was gone. She quit her job, sold what she could, changed her number, vanished from Ohio as if she had been preparing to disappear all along. Kyle was the only one who knew where she went. He wouldn't tell us. When I begged, he looked me in the eyes and said, She told me what happened that night. You all chose Maya. You don't get access to Danielle now just because you regret how ugly it looks. I remember feeling slapped. Not because he was wrong, because he was right. And somewhere beneath my anger, beneath my denial, beneath all the excuses I was still making for myself, I knew it. I had chosen the daughter who needed rescue over the daughter who needed protection. And Danielle had understood that before I ever did. Danielle didn't just leave. She disappeared in a way that felt intentional, clean, like she had taken a pair of scissors and cut every thread that connected her to us. No forwarding address, no new number, no social media, no mutual friends willing to talk. Just gone. At first, I told myself it was temporary. She needs space, I said to Robert. She'll cool down. I repeated it so many times it started to sound like truth. But weeks passed. Then months. Then a year. And the silence didn't soften. It hardened. Maya adjusted faster than I expected. That's something I still struggle to admit. She cried at first, for weeks, maybe even months. But slowly, her life began to fill back in. Ethan became permanent, not a secret anymore, not something whispered about in hallways or hidden behind closed doors. He came to dinner, sat at our table, used Danielle's name less and less, until eventually, he didn't use it at all. The first time I saw them laughing together, really laughing, relaxed, comfortable, it felt like something inside me twisted in a way I didn't have words for. Not quite anger. Not quite grief, something uglier, because a part of me realized something I didn't want to face. They weren't waiting for Danielle to come back. They were building a life that didn't include her, and somehow, we were letting them. I tried to find Danielle. God, I tried. At first, it was small things, calling her old number, sending emails that bounced back, reaching out to old coworkers. Nothing. Then it escalated. Private investigators, online searches, digging through every possible trace a person leaves behind when they move through the world. But Danielle, she had erased herself from us completely. Kyle was the only connection left. And he made it very clear, very quickly, that he wasn't on our side. "She's okay," he told me once over the phone. "Where is she?" I begged. "I'm not telling you that. I'm her mother." "And you were," he said quietly, "the person who told her to move on from the worst betrayal of her life." The line went silent after that. I didn't call him again for months. Time did something strange after that. It didn't heal. It just layered, like dust settling over something broken. Not fixing it, just making it easier to ignore from a distance. 2 years passed, then 3. And somewhere in that time, the narrative in our house shifted. Subtly, dangerously. Maya stopped being the one who made a mistake. She became the one who found love. Ethan stopped being the man who betrayed Danielle. He became Maya's partner. Even Robert, even he started using softer language. "We can't live in the past forever," he said once. And I nodded. Because it was easier than arguing. Easier than saying the truth out loud. That the past wasn't past. It was sitting at our dinner table every night, smiling, laughing, living in the space Danielle used to occupy. 6 months ago, everything changed. The investigator I'd hired, one I had almost given up on, called me. "I found something," he said. My hands started shaking immediately. "What?" "A business registration." I could barely breathe. Name, a pause. Then, Danielle Morrison, owner, digital marketing agency, Seattle, Washington. Seattle, 3,000 miles away. She hadn't just left. She had rebuilt. I sat there staring at the email he sent me. Her name, her company, proof that she was alive. Not just alive, thriving, I cried. Not the quiet kind. The kind that comes from somewhere deep and raw and long ignored. My daughter was out there, building something, becoming someone. And I wasn't part of it. "I'm going to call her," I told Robert. He shook his head immediately. "No, I have her location. That doesn't mean she wants to hear from you. She's my daughter." And we lost the right to act like that matters. His words hit hard, because they weren't cruel. They were honest. But honesty doesn't always stop desperation. I held on for months. Tried to respect what Robert said. Tried to accept that Danielle had made her choice. But acceptance, it never fully came. Then Maya asked me something, and everything unraveled again. She was sitting across from me at the kitchen table, scrolling through something on her phone, looking almost casual. "Mom," she said, "can you call Danielle?" My chest tightened instantly. "Why?" "She should come to the wedding." The wedding. Of course. Maya and Ethan were getting married, 3 months away. Same venue Danielle had chosen. Same colors. Same photographer. Even the same month. August. It was like watching someone step into a life that had already been built for someone else. And instead of stopping it, we were helping decorate it. "She's not coming," I said flatly. Maya frowned. "You don't know that." "I do. It's been 4 years, Mom." 4 years. She said it like time erased betrayal. Like it diluted it. Like it made everything smaller. He should be over it by now. Something in me snapped then. Not loudly. Not dramatically. Just shifted. "He?" I repeated quietly. She didn't even notice. Didn't hear it. Didn't realize she had already rewritten the story in her mind. So completely that Danielle's pain had become an inconvenience in her own narrative. "You destroyed her engagement," I said. Maya sighed. "We were in love. That doesn't justify—" "It explains it." "No, it didn't. It never did. But 4 years ago, I had pretended it did." "Just call her," Maya pressed. "Tell her I want her there, that I miss her." Miss her. The word felt wrong, like it didn't belong in her mouth. "I'm not calling her," I said. "Why not?" "Because the last time I tried to fix something for you, I lost her." But I didn't say that. Not out loud. Maya didn't stop. She kept asking, kept pushing, day after day, until the pressure built into something I couldn't ignore anymore. 2 weeks later, I called. I used a different number, one she wouldn't recognize. My hand was shaking so badly I almost dropped the phone before it even rang. Once, twice, 3 times. "Hello?" Her voice. 4 years. And it still sounded the same, and completely different. Stronger, sharper, like something had been reforged. "Danielle," I said quickly, "it's Mom. Please don't hang up." Silence. Then, "How did you get this number?" Her tone was controlled, guarded. "I've been trying to find you. We have nothing to talk about." "Please," I said, my voice breaking. "Just listen." "Maya is getting married," I rushed out. "To Ethan. The wedding is in 3 months. She wants you there, as her maid of honor." She laughed. Not bitter. Not emotional. Just amused. "You're joking." "No. She wants me to stand next to her while she marries the man she cheated on me with. He's your sister's fiancé now. He was mine." The silence that followed was heavy. Final. "We all miss you," I said weakly. "It's been 4 years. Don't you think it's time to come home?" "I am home," she said. A pause. 3,000 miles away from you. "Danielle." No. Her voice cut through mine. Cold. Precise. You told me to move on, remember? The words hit like a physical blow. You said family forgives, that I was being dramatic, that I needed to let it go. I didn't mean... You did. She exhaled slowly, and when she spoke again, there was nothing left of the daughter I raised in her voice. I took your advice, she said. I moved on. Then the line went dead. I called back. Blocked. Just like that. Again. When Robert found me sitting at the kitchen table, still holding the phone, I didn't have to say anything. He already knew. You called her. I nodded. She hung up. Another nod. He sat across from me, quiet for a long time. Then, that's your answer. But I didn't want it to be. I couldn't accept that this was permanent, that this was the version of my life now. Last week, Robert flew to Seattle. He didn't tell me until after he booked the ticket. I need to see her, he said, face to face. Hope flared in my chest again. Dangerous. Fragile. He came back yesterday, and I knew before he even spoke. She wouldn't see me, he said. My heart dropped. I went to her office. And? She had security remove me. I closed my eyes. She told them, he continued quietly, that if I came back, she'd file a restraining order. That was the moment it became real. Not just distance, not just anger, not just time. Final. Danielle wasn't waiting. She wasn't healing toward us. She wasn't coming back. She had already left. Completely. And we were the ones who pushed her out. The wedding is tomorrow. I should be excited. That's what people expect from a mother of the bride. Joy, pride, anticipation. Instead, I feel like I'm attending something I don't belong to. Like I'm about to watch a life unfold that was never meant for the daughter standing at the altar. Maya is glowing. Everyone keeps saying that. She looks so happy. She deserves this. Everything worked out the way it was supposed to. I nod when they say it. I smile. I help pin flowers and adjust fabrics and finalize seating charts. But every time someone says everything worked out, I feel something inside me recoil. Because nothing worked out. Something was taken. And we all agreed not to talk about it. 6 days ago, I received a letter. Handwritten. From Kyle. I knew what it was the moment I saw his name. My hand shook before I even opened it. And when I did, every word felt like it had been carved with a blade. Mrs. Morrison, someone needs to tell you the truth. Danielle is happy. She's successful. She has a life in Seattle, a real one. She has a boyfriend, friends, a business she built herself. She has everything she needs. And she has it without you. I had to stop reading. My vision blurred, but I forced myself to continue. Because some part of me knew this was the closest I would ever get to hearing her truth. You keep saying you handled things badly. That's not what happened. Handling something badly is saying the wrong thing or choosing the wrong moment. What you did was choose one daughter over the other. My chest tightened. You told the one who was betrayed to move on. You asked her to forgive so everyone else could be comfortable. You protected the one who caused the damage instead of the one who was hurt by it. Tears slid down the page. That's not a mistake. That's a choice. I read that line 5 times. Because it stripped away every excuse I had been hiding behind for 4 years. Danielle doesn't hate you. She just doesn't trust you. And she won't build a life around people who have already proven they won't protect her when it matters. That line broke something open inside me. Because it wasn't about punishment. It wasn't about revenge. It was about safety. She didn't leave to hurt us. She left to protect herself. Stop trying to contact her. Stop hoping she'll come back. She already did what you asked. She moved on. I didn't realize I was sobbing until Robert came into the room and took the letter from my hands. He read it slowly, silently, then sat down beside me. He's right, he said. No argument, no denial, no attempt to soften it, just truth. We chose wrong. The words landed heavy, final, unavoidable. I can't live with that, I whispered. Robert looked at me, tired, older than I had ever seen him. We don't have a choice. And for the first time in 4 years, I understood. Not partially, not defensively, not filtered through excuses or maternal instincts or the need to fix things. Fully. I didn't just handle that situation badly. I failed her. I chose the daughter who was louder over the one who was right. I chose comfort over truth. I chose the version of the story that made things easier to live with, instead of the one that demanded accountability. And Danielle saw that before I did. The wedding is beautiful. Of course it is. Danielle planned most of it. Same venue, same flowers, same color palette, same photographer, even the same month. It's like watching a ghost version of the life she was supposed to have. Only now, she's been erased from it. Maya walks down the aisle in a dress Danielle once showed me on her phone. I think this might be the one, she had said, smiling. I told her it was perfect. I didn't know I would one day watch her sister wear something almost identical to marry the same man. Ethan stands at the altar, confident, calm, like the past doesn't exist. Like he didn't build this moment on top of someone else's trust. People clap, smile, take pictures, celebrate, and all I can see is the empty space, the chair where Danielle should have been, the life she should have been living, the version of this day that should have belonged to her. During the reception, Maya gives a speech. She thanks everyone. Thanks us. Thanks, Ethan. Says she's grateful for second chances and unexpected love. She doesn't say Danielle's name. Not once. It's like she never existed. Like she wasn't part of this story at all. Like her absence is easier than her truth. I can't stay. I leave early. Quietly. No one stops me. I drive home. Walk into the house. And without thinking, I go straight to Danielle's old room. It's exactly the same. We never changed it. Not really. Trophies. Books. Photos. Pieces of a life that no longer belongs here. I sit on her bed. And for the first time, I don't try to fix anything. I don't justify. I don't explain. I just sit in the truth. Robert finds me there an hour later. We should go back, he says gently. I can't. He nods. Because he understands. I can't watch her celebrate a life she took, I say. He sits beside me, quiet. We asked Danielle to accept that, he says. I close my eyes. I know. And that's the worst part. Not what Maya did. Not even what Ethan did. What we did. We took something that should have been clear. Obvious. Unforgivable. And we blurred it. Softened it. Reframed it. Until the person who was hurt became the one who was asked to compromise. I wrote Danielle a letter last night. I don't know if she'll ever read it. Kyle might throw it away. She might refuse it. It might never reach her. But I wrote it anyway. Not to ask for forgiveness. Not to ask her to come back. Just to tell the truth. That I was wrong. That she was right. That I failed her. Because for 4 years, I hid behind softer words. We handled it badly. We didn't know what to do. We were trying to help. But none of those were true. The truth is simple. Painfully simple. I chose the wrong daughter. And I lost the right one. Now I live in a house where one child still visits. And one never will again. People ask about Danielle sometimes. Where she is. What she's doing. Why she doesn't come home. I tell them she moved away. That she's building her own life. I don't tell them why. Because saying it out loud makes it real. Permanent. Unchangeable. But it is real. I had 2 daughters. And when it mattered most, I chose one. And lost the other forever. I told Danielle to move on 4 years ago. She did. She moved on from all of us. And now, I'm the one who can't.